Hello, 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 and welcome to the first lesson in the International Transurfing Institute course, Becoming Magnetic. Becoming Magnetic is a course designed to nurture and promote growth within yourself with the objective of connecting you with a future soulmate, future business partners, friends, or developing other meaningful relationships via your natural qualities of attraction. Connecting with the highest version of yourself as possible will put you on an elevated lifeline where more of what you want exists, including love and romance and beneficial relationships. When we do not have the things we want on our current lifelines or the type of people we desire, it is oftentimes because of our limiting beliefs, low thought quality, and the type of lifeline we are currently on. It is possible that you have reached the extent of everything there is to gain on your current lifeline with your current belief system. So remember, our world is a mirror reflecting back our attitudes and beliefs towards it. What have you been telling and showing your mirror that has resulted in you wanting something? If you do not currently have the life partner you desire, it is time to start working on the image you are projecting to the mirror. You will see in this 4-lesson course how just a small amount of work on your self-love and belief system can make a huge impact in the people you attract. Becoming magnetic is more than attracting a future mate. Becoming magnetic will attract everyone resonating at the same frequency as you are resonating. Except now you will elevate to a higher lifeline where more quality relationships and people await, along with adventure. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions, big ones, but I want you to really just start resonating with these questions. You don't have to answer them now, but coming to this course with an intention is ideal. Question 1. What does a meaningful relationship look like to you? Question 2. What are you looking for? And question 3. Why do you feel you don't have it? So now we will move into step 1. Love yourself first. In this first step, we will set the intention to fall in love with ourselves. Because remember, your mirror will respond to you, what you put forth, towards it. Vadim Zeland talks about the act of falling in love with yourself. You are a gem, and the brighter you shine, the more you get noticed. The more doors open, the more opportunity comes your way. Shining brightly is created by self-love. Focusing on your level of self-care and self-love this next 4 weeks is invaluable. Increasing your level of self-love alone will get your mirror sending you back more of the same. So let's start here. Some more questions. Question 1. What do you love? So I have talked about this a lot in my videos and in the community. Forward and up thinking instead of downward and back. Forward and up is you focusing on all of the things you love, what is going right, what you like, what you can do, what you can create, and really learning how to focus on what you love helps you to resonate at the frequency of love within yourself, therefore affecting your external environment. Question 2. What makes you feel heart and mind coordination? This is a big one. Heart and mind coordination is like a beacon to your external environment. The people in your world, the people in your layer of reality are like moths to a flame when they see someone, you, living with active heart and mind coordination. So question 3, what makes you burn brightly? Try to recall a time in your life where you were on fire. You were burning, you had passion, you felt heart and mind coordination, and recall how your external environment responded to this light. Question 4, how can you start adding consistent fuel to this fire? So locate the source of the fire you currently have. Are you passionate about animals? Love hiking and the outdoors? What makes your heart sing? Fueling this will inevitably be recognized because you will be burning brighter. So in the next week, I'm going to really challenge you to make what it is you love your focal point. We're going to now dive into self-care, which will also be a focal point. But I want you to really divide your thought energy and time between self-caring and really focusing and immersing on what brings you joy, what helps you to feel in love with your world, and what ignites passion within you. So let's move on to the self-care portion of the lesson. And after that, I'm going to give you a homework assignment, pretty intense, but it is going to just help you dive into the world of self-care, which is my absolute go-to in really creating a layer of reality that responds to me very, very positively. Self-care is not to be minimized. It is quite possibly my absolute biggest key in my reality creation process. So I'm going to go into it more deeply and then give you actionable steps that you can start taking, which will allow you to start sending your mirror a really valuable image of you absolutely caring and loving yourself. So starting today, we are going to take self-care to the next level. Start pampering yourself daily. Walk out of your house in the morning feeling as though your cup is totally full in regards to self-care. Make this habitual. Incorporate new self-care acts into your routine. Hot baths, special lighting and music in the evening, massages, at-home beauty treatments, walks out in nature. Get creative. So for this next week, I am going to invite you to participate in at least 5 acts of self-care this week that are out of the ordinary for you. These can be anything that inspires you, anything that you've wanted to try that you haven't. Maybe you have a local float center where you can go and take a float or get a massage, go on a long hike by yourself. It could also be something as simple as giving yourself a pedicure or self-massage. For the guys taking this course, I know this is a little bit probably out of your comfort zone. What I suggest for the men is to get involved in a new hobby, something that's simple, but something that you can focus on in the evenings, maybe building something like a new little arts and crafts project or something that is a little bit extra to your normal routine. Or, like us women, you can dive into pampering yourself with baths and facials and self-massage. That works for everyone. It's not exclusive to women. So please feel free to journal about anything that comes up if you are self-caring and starting to feel any guilt or feelings of not being worthy, because these are definitely the sorts of things that cause us that resistance in really projecting a very solid image to the mirror of absolutely loving yourself unconditionally. And if you have anything you'd like to ask or share, please come to the exclusive Facebook group and feel comfortable to just be open there, because there are a lot of people in there that have gone through this course, and everyone has sort of all had their trials and resistance with heightened levels of self-care. So now we are going to get into loving yourself unconditionally, which is really an extension of self-care. Reality transurfing is not geared towards changing yourself. Understand your flaws exist for a reason. You do not need to change anything about yourself. You can evolve, but never have friction about a personal characteristic or personality trait. This only shows you are in discord with yourself to your mirror and highlights these traits in an unappealing way. You will therefore attract a person having discord with themselves as well. Hold high images of yourself and only allow others into your life that agree with these high images of yourself as well. Do not continue to have relationships with people that do not also acknowledge there is a higher version of you. You will attract someone who believes there is a higher version of him or herself too, if you hold these high images of yourself. No one is perfect until you fall in love with them. So fall in love with yourself. Show the mirror you love yourself. And as this love increases, more love will be presented to you in your reality. The images you send out into the world about yourself determines how others see you. How you treat yourself is exactly how others will treat you. So that brings us to step 2, time for new beliefs. If you are wanting to go for a major change in your life, you will want to change those beliefs that have kept you from having whatever it is you have wanted in the past. It is time to ascend to higher lifelines. Once we feel stuck, aren't seeing the results we want, or we feel something is missing from our life. Our belief system can be limiting, and what you have now, or lack thereof, is most likely because of your limiting beliefs. If you want something more, something bigger, you must deconstruct your current belief system and start building a new one. This is a very powerful practice when attracting new love into your life. What beliefs do you currently have that may possibly be keeping love at arm's length? Perhaps it is because your beliefs about yourself have not allowed you to truly love yourself. Maybe you only believe in a certain type of love, or that you have to fight or negotiate with someone you want to love you. Maybe you believe you are always destined to be abandoned, or commitments are a scary, limiting thing. Therefore, you always self-sabotage your relationships. Maybe you didn't have good love role models like me. Whatever it is time to deeply consider what beliefs have been holding you back from getting the love you want. In turn, it is time now to start creating some new beliefs. Also, I'd like to state that if you want something new, be open to having it come from any place, anywhere, any person. I have seen so many people in my last 5 years of coaching really limit themselves to their options by putting way too many restrictions on what it is they're looking for. So as I just stated, that it's time now to start creating some new beliefs. Maybe it's also time to start removing some of your ideals, some of your characteristics that you find attractive in another person, and allowing your world to present to you maybe some new options. So maybe it's time to start looking to your environment to receive some new information and maybe evidence to support a new belief system. Remember, a new version of you awakens every single morning. And with working to lower some of the resistance between you and the people in your layer of reality, and some of the resistance between you and your own levels of self-love and self-care, maybe you can wake up tomorrow a little more open and a little more ready to accept something new into your life. So with that, I'm going to ask a few powerful questions. So question 1, what insights are you receiving now about how to act or think in regards to attracting a new partner? So I know this is kind of a confusing question, so I will break it down of how I came to this in my own life. When I first bought my home and moved back to my hometown, I thought that I was sort of destined to be an old maid. I was just coming up on 40 years old. I hadn't had a very good run romantically, and I sort of resigned myself. But at the same time, I didn't want to give up entirely. So I moved home, and after about a few months, I thought to myself, well, you know what? Might as well jump back into the dating scene. So I signed up on Tinder and I started to do the swipe thing and seeing all the guys in my area. And I just stopped myself. I just absolutely stopped. And I thought to myself, you haven't had luck with this in the past, Renee. Why are you doing this now? And maybe all of that past experience that didn't go so well is what brought you up to the point where you are feeling like resigning to being an old maid. So I decided to do neither. I decided I wasn't going to resign, and at the same time, I wasn't going to follow the same path as before. I decided to stop the search entirely. I wasn't going to throw myself into the dating pool. I wasn't going to troll the online apps for guys. I wasn't going to do any of the old things that I had done in my past. I was just going to take care of myself and dive in to an extreme amount of self-care and self-love. Well, that really, really worked for me because one of my self-care acts was to get really involved in the hot yoga studio where I met my current partner, who is the man of my absolute dreams. We've been together almost 4 years now, and it has been hands down, without a doubt, my most beneficial, beautiful, and meaningful relationship in my life. So as this example clearly displays, it wasn't my old ways that connected me with him. It was my new, higher ways, joining a yoga studio. So again, let me ask one more time. What insights are you receiving about how to act or think in regards to attracting a new partner? So for me, it wasn't about doing the old. I had insights that it was time to just give it up. And thank God that I did. So here's the thing with having a connection with the alternative space, being a reality transurfer. The insights of what you need to do exactly will come to you. Oftentimes, we discount them or we say it won't happen quick enough that way. But do you trust your world enough to let some new insights be revealed to you on exactly how you can act or think in a new direction regarding attracting a new partner for yourself, if that's what you're looking for? So question 2, what beliefs do you have about the outcome? Do you need to change those beliefs to a higher view? Okay, so let me get into my own personal example again. I know these questions are a little bit challenging because they're very, very deep, or at least they were for me when I started to ask them of myself. So what I mean to ask when I say, what beliefs do you have about the outcome? This is oftentimes why our relationships do not succeed in the first place. We really live out self-fulfilling prophecies within relationships. So let me give you an example. I grew up in a dysfunctional household, and I had lots and lots of dysfunctional relationships around me where women were always left by the men, almost always. So in my mind, I started to really run this tape that it doesn't matter what you do in a relationship. Eventually, the guy's going to grow tired of you and he's going to leave. So stepping into a new relationship with that belief that there's already going to be that kind of outcome, it's almost impossible that you'll see anything different. So I knew that in order to evolve to some higher relationships, I was going to really have to check those beliefs at the door. And thank God I did, because I could have just as easily self-sabotaged this relationship if I had not. So again, what beliefs do you have about the outcome? And do you need to change those beliefs to a higher view? So question 3, what is one limiting belief you can acknowledge and call out right now? You can come to the Facebook group and let the others know if you feel comfortable in doing so. When I was giving this course live, I would recommend or invite people to write it down and share it because it was really quite interesting. There was just a few beliefs and everybody sort of commonly believed in these few different beliefs. So we're doing this to each other. We're doing it to ourselves and we're doing it to each other. And really getting into those limiting beliefs and making certain that you don't match up with someone also carrying those same limiting beliefs is really going to help you a lot if you are in fact trying to connect with someone higher and better. So this is part B of that question. What is one new belief you can add in its place? So just like me with my belief that men always walk out, I knew deep down inside, this was not true. And I knew that if I wanted to have a long-standing, lasting, meaningful relationship, this belief absolutely was not invited. So in the place of that belief, I started to believe that I'm going to find the perfect partner that wants to stick around. And as we know with reality transurfing, adopt a new theory and your world will present to you evidence, information, and support of that exact theory. And sure enough, this has been my best and longest relationship that I've ever had. But it started with me acknowledging the faulty belief and replacing it with the new one. So a little bit of a homework assignment is to look into your past and find the root of this belief. So this is the interesting thing about these little adopted theories. Oftentimes, it's just a little bit of information that we pick up on when we're children. This belief that I had, that men always walk out. I actually had a little friend when I was in kindergarten, and I can remember her mother saying that all good men leave or something along those lines. And there it was, that little seed, even when I was so young, started to collect evidence to support. And sure enough, that little seed grew into a giant tree with deep roots that affected my reality. So I'm going to invite you to, again, look into your past and find the root of this belief. This kind of extinguishes it or neutralizes it because you realize that it didn't hold as much power as you believed it did. It started small and then it snowballed. So after you've acknowledged where the root of this belief originated, thank this belief for whatever purpose it served. Say goodbye and burn this belief in the fire tonight or tomorrow, and what other beliefs you might have about connecting in the right way with anyone. So again, we will get into the homework of burning your limiting beliefs. I do this both in my Becoming Magnetic course and my Mo Money course because it's wildly beneficial in leaving the past where it belongs. So finally, what is your ideal romantic relationship? Write it out. What are you looking for exactly? So again, I know I touched on this briefly a few moments ago, that expect your world may present to you something that looks different, or someone that seems different, or something that you would not have chosen for yourself with your standards. So what I'm really getting at here is oftentimes we place ideals on the people rather than the sensations we want to feel. What I am challenging you to do starting today is to think about what it is you want to feel exactly. Not what it is you want the person to look like or act like or be like, but how you want to feel exactly. What you are looking for exactly, not in a person, but how you want to be. My partner now that I have is very, very different than anyone I would have ever expected to end up with. He was a corporate guy for 20 years, and if you saw us together, you'd probably laugh. I'm zany, I'm out there, I've got tattoos, I've got crazy colored hair, and he wears polo collared shirts and looks like the square dude from down the block. But I focused on what he made me feel like, and this released me from a ton of resistance that I was creating, keeping myself from exactly what it was that I wanted. So again, what is your ideal romantic relationship? Write it out. What are you looking for exactly? This is for the people that are looking to get into a romantic relationship and for those that are already inside, because lowering your expectations about your partner and just focusing on the state of being that you want to experience, this is like fire within a relationship. So this will benefit anyone. Okay, so moving on. Oftentimes we are stuck because we are focusing on what we don't want to see happen. I don't want to be alone anymore. I don't want to struggle with relationships any longer, etc. Now it's time to start acknowledging this thinking. What have you been telling yourself you don't want? And what thoughts can you replace with those thoughts? Also, oftentimes we are limited by our past programming about something as well. This can be negative associations, bad experiences, poor examples, etc. All these things create beliefs about what it is we are struggling with having from coming into our reality. So think of 5 beliefs that are adverse thoughts about love, romance, being in love, commitment, etc. So leading up to my last relationship, I had a lot of faulty beliefs. As a defense mechanism, I began to be the first one to bail, right? Because remember, my belief that I took into all my relationships was all good men leave. So I was going to get the jump start on them. And I started to develop some really faulty beliefs about commitment. So I'm going to challenge you to do a deep dive. Really start thinking about it over the next few days. Try to locate 5 beliefs that are adverse thoughts about love, romance, being in love, commitment, etc. Again, if you're looking to get into a relationship or you are currently within one, really thinking about these things in both scenarios are going to be beneficial beyond anything, because this is going to lower down resistance, keeping that love from flowing out and flowing in. Okay, so now we're going to get into the homework. And I want to first state that this is really, really deep work. And if you have any questions at all or need any kind of guidance or support, I'm absolutely there to answer any and all questions. The Mo Money course is really beneficial for increasing your higher paths of wealth. But this is work that has to do with your soul and your heart and getting in there to some of those really dark little crevices that you may have been carrying some stuff that's going to be hard for you to let go or challenging for you to let go. So don't be shy. Please come into the exclusive Facebook group and ask away. I'm definitely there for any support or guidance. Okay, so homework, week 1. We're going to start off with the burning, the limiting beliefs. Now it is time to get rid of limiting beliefs, doubts holding you back, or old patterns of thinking no longer serving you. What do you need to burn before you start this journey? What do you feel has kept you from experiencing the love or romance you want? Write as many of these things down on individual pieces of paper tonight or sometime this week until you take the next lesson. Sit in a quiet place and individually hold each limiting belief in your hands. Think back to the first time you remembered having this thought and all the times you can recall having this thought or this belief getting in the way after. Think of the times this belief has hurt you. After you have had the right amount of time with this belief, set it down and move to the next. After you have thought on all of them, collect them up and burn them, light them on fire. Also, I would suggest keeping those beliefs also written down in a separate book, just so you can go back and recall if you need to, or not. It's really your preference. So after you do this belief burn, which is really such a powerful exercise. The reason that I believe this is so powerful is because you're doing something in physical reality. It's not like you're trying to just wrestle with a thought in your head. You're writing it down, you're acknowledging it in physical reality, and then with your own eyes and senses, you're watching this thing burn. It is really, really effective. So this belief, or the beliefs, plural, that you burn are not going to just completely disappear. They will pop up here and there for sure, because remember, old programming runs deep. But the cool thing is you can fall back on the visual of you burning the belief. So my belief, all good men eventually leave. Burned it. Anytime I get even the sensation that my mind's going there, I recall the image of the belief actually burning in the fire. And it's like it just zaps it right out of my mind. So this is a powerful exercise in not only acknowledging, but helping you deal with these beliefs when they pop up in the future. Also, I like to do this exercise once a year in general. I burn all kinds of things each year on New Year's Eve. So keep this exercise in mind. Do it whenever you like, or you can join us on the collective International Transurfing Institute burn that we all join once a year. And it's quite fun because, man, you get to see that everybody's sharing the same limiting beliefs. But keep this in your back pocket. Do it at least this one time to start. And if you feel called to do it in the future, have at it. Also, remember your self-care acts this week. To participate in at least 5 acts of self-care and make certain that they are out of the ordinary for you. Get into new acts of self-care. So now I'm going to leave you with a few questions before I give you your week 1 declarations to repeat. Okay, so question 1. How would you know if you were acting or thinking in a way that is loving to yourself? Kind of weird question, right? For me, I had such a bizarre relationship with self-care and self-love because I had such a deep program that if I cared for myself, I was being selfish, or it was some sort of undesirable thing. So I really had to develop a sensation that is now very familiar. I know what it feels like to be loving to myself. And I make certain that I do not become a stranger to the sensation. So when I ask you, how would you know if you were acting or thinking in a way that is loving to yourself? This is you diving in to the energy of your self-love and self-care in a way that you really gain a sense of the essence of that energy, and you hold on to that so that becomes your modus operandi. Question 2, how would today or tomorrow look if everything were an act of love? Oh my God, that one just gives me the chills even thinking about it. So remember that People want love. We want love. How would your layer of reality start looking if everything were an act of love? From others to you, from you to others, from you to yourself. 3, what would your actions look like if you were loving to yourself in the following areas? Your physical body, your intimate relationships, your job and career. Again, this is you getting into the essence of the energy and where this love energy, how this love energy helps you to really connect with these certain parts of your physical body and your physical reality. Question 4. What could you do today or tomorrow to be more loving to yourself in your relationships, in your job, and with your physical body? Think of 3 specific actions you could take for each of these 3 areas. Okay, so for the declarations, this is a really powerful exercise, but I suggest doing it each day for the next 30 days. I know it's a little intense, but it's definitely worth the time and energy. So print out each week your declaration sheet and put the sheet up where you are going to see it regularly. When I did this, I hung it on my fridge. So at least once a day, read each of the declarations, either to yourself or out loud is my preference, because I really believe in the power of the frequency of our voice when we say words and things like this to our reality, and also how it resonates with us actually hearing this stuff out loud. So these are the declarations for week 1. Read them for the next 7 days out loud or to yourself at least once a day. And then next lesson, you will print out the next sheet and so on and so forth. So these are the declarations. I love myself as I am right now. I have made the commitment to walk my own path. I only allow relationships that agree with my higher vision of myself. I believe in my ability to connect with a powerful and meaningful relationship. I focus on what I want rather than what I don't want. I change my relationships by evolving. I have let go of the belief that someone will love me in the ways I cannot love myself. My beliefs about reality create my experience of it. I am the director and producer of my life. People love and accept me for who I really am. I do not take myself so seriously. I am a magnet for love. All right, so just to recap, you're going to do your limiting belief burn. You're going to self-care like crazy. You're going to answer these questions. And then you're going to do your daily declarations. And then I will see you in lesson 2.